Welcome back to Las Vegas Diaries. I'm Kelly O. In this episode, I'll be interviewing Brittany Guinane. I first met Brittany over 10 years ago when we both came into the show Jubilee as new dancers. She was in the tall line and I was in the short line. I have really fond memories of Brittany. When I first moved to town, I didn't have a car. I didn't have the money or the credit to buy a car, and Brittany drove me home every night after work, 6 days a week, I think over a month until I was able to get a car of my own. She's a wonderful, lovely human. She's also a really talented dancer. Brittany has a BFA in dance. She has also been a showgirl in the three most legendary Las Vegas Showgirl institutions. Folies Bergere, which opened way back, I believe, in 1954 and ran until 2009. She has danced for Fantasy, which is currently, I believe, the longest running showgirl show on the Las Vegas Strip. I think they're going on 20 years or something like that. And she has worked at Jubilee, which is the be all and end all of Las Vegas spectacular shows, and ran from 1981 until it closed in 2016. So she has had an incredible career as a real bona fide showgirl, and standing at 5'10", Brittany definitely encompasses everything that you think about when you think of a classic Las Vegas showgirl. I've also had the pleasure of working with Brittany for Tao Group at Marquee and Tao nightclubs, where she is the shift lead there currently. She's just an absolute pleasure to work with, and I'm really excited to have her on. I hope you guys enjoy this interview with Brittany Guinane. Welcome back to Las Vegas Diaries. My guest today is Brittany Guinane. I've known Brittany for 10 years. We started dancing together in Jubilee way back in the day, where she was one of the tall line dancers. I was in the short line, and Brittany's had an amazing career from Folies Bergere to Fantasy to Jubilee and all kinds of giant Las Vegas nightclubs, including Marquee, Tao, Hakkasan. So Brittany, where did you grow up and what was your dance training like?
I grew up in Michigan, just outside Detroit, St. Clair Shores. I went to a studio called Dancers Workshop. I started with tap. That was my first love. I actually cried in my first ballet class when I was 4, and so my mom said I never had to go to ballet ever again. I wish she would have made me. I never took ballet until high school, which is bad. I don't recommend that. I did tap and jazz for a long time, and eventually my teacher said, you're getting more serious. You have to add ballet. So then to catch up, I studied Cicchetti multiple grades at a time to catch up, and started doing ballet, point. I competed, and in high school I was on the dance team. They called it POMS, kind of more athletic dancing / cheerleading. And then I went to college and got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance Performance at Wayne State University, and they have a concentration in concert dance. So all different styles of modern, ballet to back it up, but a lot of modern dance.
I haven't heard anyone say Cicchetti in such a long time. I was like, oh my God. But I just have to say that I had the opposite training. I did more ballet and I didn't do any tap and not enough jazz. And everybody always says, oh, it's really bad if you don't do ballet. But like from the opposite perspective, I actually disagree. I think if you're going to be dancing anywhere in Vegas or anywhere commercial, you'd rather have like tap and jazz. Of course, ballet is good and important and everything, but I don't think you necessarily missed out there. Okay, so you got your BFA in dance and performing. What was it? Sorry.
Yeah, I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance Performance. My school offered dance education, which is actually what I was starting as, or that's what I thought I wanted to do. I used to teach dance in high school at the studio I grew up at. And in college, I was still teaching, and I taught the Pilates mat classes for the underclassmen and the apparatus classes in college. And then partway through, we just had so much more performance opportunity than I had growing up. I re-auditioned and submitted some essays, and I switched to the dance performance track. And I've never looked back, and I don't know, I guess I don't like teaching anymore.
That's awesome. I think a lot of dancers could relate to that. That's really interesting. I like the whole idea of getting your BFA in dance performance. Can you talk a little bit about, do you think that prepared you for a career in dance? Are you glad you did it? What advice do you have for students that are looking to get their BFA in dance?
I do think it was good for me, a lot of it because I was behind, I think, technically with my ballet training. So I don't think I was as strong of a dancer. I really didn't get serious about the dance until high school. So I think I needed all that technique. I will say when I came to Vegas, because I came here directly from college, yes, I was technically a good dancer and I did well in auditions because I could dance, but I was horribly out of place. I didn't know what to wear. In modern dance, you don't wear tights, you don't wear shoes. In Vegas and most commercial dance where you're making money, you're wearing high heels and fishnets and it's glamorous. And modern dance is not that. Your hair is back, you're barely wearing makeup. It's a whole different world. And looking back, I just wish I knew more what I was getting myself into moving here because I was so unprepared to
Mm.
blend in Vegas and do well at first.
I had the exact same experience because I came from concert dance from the ballet world, and it's the same thing. Just completely unprepared, never danced in heels before, didn't know. It's interesting too. I think it would probably be a good idea if universities started offering a course in, I don't know what they would call it, maybe commercial dance or like I maybe even just like,
Dance that they pay you for.
yeah. Do you actually want to, like, concert dance is great, but if you want to make money, learn this. So that's awesome. So then why did you pick Vegas? Why did you decide to move to Las Vegas?
Actually, it was kind of random. I always grew up wanting to be a rockette, which I'm a little bit on the tall side for that with the look that in recent years they've gone with. And I had always thought maybe I'd do a cruise ship. But then my senior year in college, my grandma saw the Jubilee Showgirls on Fox News, and they were doing an audition tour. They were in Chicago and New York, going everywhere. And my grandma called me, and she's like, "You should do this. You look just like these girls." And actually, my dad went on a business trip here, and he had gone and seen Folies Bergere and Jubilee, and I want to say Splash was here, a bunch of those type of shows, because he's not a big gambler, so he'd go see 1, 2 shows a night. And he brought back all these programs. I had no idea this was all here. So for Christmas, he bought me a plane ticket and a hotel suite at the Aladdin, which is now Planet Hollywood. And I came and auditioned for Jubilee. And Diane Palm actually, she kind of pulled me aside and she gave me some pointers for the callback because I got a callback. She said, I want you to come and watch a show. Maybe you could wear some more makeup, put some red lipstick on. And I was wearing a leotard and tights. Everyone here was wearing a G-string and a bra. And I actually got the job, but I had 1 semester left of college. So I told her I'd keep in touch because I wanted to finish. And I had just wanted to see what it was like out here. I didn't think I would get the job like that. And so I finished school and I came back out for a week after school and went to a bunch of auditions 1 week, and someone saw me and gave me the phone number to the company manager of Folies Bergere. And I had a private audition, and I was back on a plane 2 days later to move here. And I've been here ever since.
That's an amazing story. I've never heard you tell that story. That's such a like Vegas showgirl story, making of a Vegas showgirl. That's awesome. And it's so funny that your grandma, oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, I was just gonna say your grandma is such a badass. That is so funny.
That same grandma bought me my first pair of tap shoes when I was 4. She was one of 14 from an Italian immigrant family, and she used to love tap dancing with Shirley Temple, and she never had tap shoes. And so she bought me my first pair, and I used to mess around in her basement in my tap shoes, and that was like my love. And actually, I'm kind of sad because I don't keep up with it. It's not big in demand out here in Vegas. I've gotten to do a few times professionally, but I haven't kept on my training, so it's not really there anymore, but I still love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess the things that we take from our training is that we can always do it whenever we want to for fun, which is nice too. But that's good advice too, that if you are a college dance student, consider your senior year maybe going on some auditions and flying out to whatever city you're interested in working in and giving it a try. And look what happened for you. You pretty much had jobs lined up by the time you graduated, which is really awesome. So then from Folies Bergere, how long were you there? And then did you say you were a dance captain there as well?
No, I was a I came as a showgirl into Folies Bergere because they divide it into height. 5'10" and up were the showgirls. 5'10" to about 5'7" was the tall dancers. They also had short dancers, which isn't really a thing anymore. I think it was under 5'7", maybe around to 5'3". And we also had an acro line of dancers who were even a little bit shorter, and they danced as well as doing acrobatic tricks in the show. So I came in as a showgirl. They had a spot for that. And then once I was in the show, they started teaching me the tall dancer line. I was kind of the tallest, so I would, depending where they needed me, I would swing into that line or I would swing the showgirl line. I knew all the spots in that. I was there for about a year and a half before I got hired over at Fantasy at the Luxor.
Awesome. So for anyone that doesn't know, a swing is sort of like an understudy, but not really. You swing or kind of move around into different tracks or parts within the show based on where they need you that day. And it's definitely a skill. Being a good swing is not as easy as it looks. You have to know all this different choreography. You have to be willing and able to change positions, directions, sides of the stage, do things backwards and sideways at a moment's notice. So it's actually pretty difficult to be a swing. So you were a swing at Fantasy as well, correct? We were both swings at Fantasy, but at different times.
Yeah, I went into Fantasy as, I guess, a full-time swing. I worked 6 or 7 days a week and just covered, because the show runs every night and they have kind of a rotating group of girls. Every night someone different was off. And so I would cover that track. And I will say at Folies Bergere, they didn't pay extra for swings. I was young. It was my first job. And I said yes to everything. I want to do that. I didn't care that I didn't get paid extra because I just wanted to do everything. In Fantasy, the same actually. You get paid less as a swing than as a full-time girl, which the full-time girls there too actually do move around. And it's a good skill to take the opportunity to push yourself, even if you're scared or it's not as easy as to go in and phone in your show every night on autopilot. It's good to keep your brain active.
Wow, I definitely agree with that. I've swung a few shows and I'm not naturally good at picking up choreography or reversing it. So it was really good exercise for me. So I definitely agree. If you had the opportunity to swing, take it. So from Fantasy, then you went on to Jubilee, and that's where we met.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
learned the show together.
We did. And we were in, again, different. You were the tall line and I was the short line, and I'm 5'9", to give you guys an idea of what short is at Jubilee. And that was back in 2009, which is crazy. But
Over a year ago.
what was your Jubilee experience like, and how long were you there? Because I know you were there quite a while.
I was there from, I guess it was October 2009 that we started, or September 2009.
September, I think, yeah.
Until the show closed in February of, I want to say 2016. So I was there 6.5 years. I started as a tall nude and I had my track and I started swinging within the tall nude line. And then at some point, actually for a long time, I was begging to be a blue bell. I think I even wanted to come in as a blue bell, which is the covered dancers. They dance more because they're not topless, so they can move more. And finally, one year, a bunch of blue bells left and they said, sure, if you want, you can, because it's a pay cut. So in the old school showgirl Las Vegas, being a nude is considered a promotion. I've never danced in Paris, but I understand that when you go into shows like the Moulin Rouge, you always go in as a covered dancer, and eventually they'll maybe promote you to being topless. So going backwards was not the way it's done. And I remember Fluff was taken aback. She couldn't understand why I would want to do such a thing, but I just really wanted to dance more. So I became a blue bell, and the next contract for being a blue bell, I became the full show swing. So I learned every female track in the show, and some of the boy tracks in Top Hat. You do girl and boy, which it was a lot, but it keeps the show fresh for, I was there for almost 7 years. And that's how I did it. I knew the show inside and out. And then when the dance captain position became available, they asked if I would be interested. And I was terrified, but I pushed through and I did it. And I'm really glad I did. It was a very rewarding experience. And I think I surprised myself with what I was able to accomplish.
Before we go more into what it's like to be a dance captain, I just want to touch on a few things. It's, first of all, this speaks a lot to the type of dancer and the work ethic that Brittany has, because, and I've worked with her a few places, and this is very true about her. Jubilee is a difficult show. It's hard on your body. We would do anywhere from 10 to 12 shows a week. And the fact that she wanted to do more dancing says a lot about Brittany and the type of dancer and person she is. Most dancers are like trying to take it easy and, go easy on their body. And she's just like, give me more. And that is a very Brittany thing. And that's something I love about Brittany. Another thing is she referenced Fluff Laco. If you guys don't know who she is, she's the legendary company manager from Jubilee. She was also featured in the movie Casino, where she basically she didn't play herself. Martin Scorsese basically made a role for her in that movie because she was such an amazing character, and she ran Jubilee for many years, and right up until she passed away in 2016, and right after that they closed the show, unfortunately. And also, if you never saw Jubilee, there were, I think, 60 to 80 dancers in that show. So for Brittany to know every single track and every number is insane. Yeah. And so now, Brittany, if you could just tell us a little bit about what is a dance captain, what are the responsibilities of the dance captain, and what is it like being a dance captain at a huge show like Jubilee was?
Being dance captain was a lot, and you're responsible for so many people that the one thing I found a lot was it's 2 minutes before show, and I realized I don't know what I'm doing, because your number one job is I had to go to head of wardrobe and tell her what the show was, because with an 85-person cast and people on vacations and sick and injured, every single night the notes were different. Who's doing what spot is different, who needs what costume, dressers, quick changes. So my first thing is going into the office, getting notes, going to wardrobe, giving them the notes, and then coming and giving my tall bluebells the notes, the short bluebells the notes, maybe conferring with the nude captain, the boy captain if something's crazy, and then running around and trying to get myself costumes, or if someone's doing a new spot and they have questions, that's my job, is to make sure that they're ready to go. And then next thing you know, I don't have any makeup on, I'm not dressed, it's 2 minutes, I get up to stage and I'm like, wait, who am I? What's my name? Where do I go? What do I do? Which luckily a lot of times, because a show like that is so symmetrical and brilliant and mathematical, I could usually reference, oh, I did this spot yesterday, or it's the opposite of this, and there's patterns to everything, and try to figure it out. But that's just because I was there for so long. It was crazy. But obviously, I fed off of that. It kept me engaged. It kept it fun. I think I'm smarter than I am a great dancer. I love dancing, but I think I brought more of that to the table is, I don't know, I guess being able to keep all that in my head more so than being maybe the best dancer in the show.
Well, I think you're a great dancer, but there's definitely a skill. Is that, like I said, I definitely struggled being a swing. And when I was at Jubilee, I think I had to just swing one number, which was top hat. Because I'd been there so long that they were like, "Come on, Kelly, you need to swing something. Let's get you in top hat swinging." And I think every single time I had to swing top hat, I messed it up. I don't think there was never a time that I didn't like completely screw it all up. So it's a lot harder than it looks, and that's really cool. And then, so I guess that leads right into the other aspect of your career, which is Tao Group and some of the other nightclubs you worked at. But you and I worked together at Tao Group for a little bit. But what are you, the shift lead there? What's your?
Yeah, I'm the lead go-go for Marquee.
For Marquee. So Marquee and Tao nightclubs, as well as Lavo Brunch, are owned by Tao Group, which is owned by Madison Square Garden. So it's like a huge company. And if you haven't been to nightclubs in Las Vegas, Marquee is one of the biggest and the most popular. They have go-go dancers that are, I'll stick a picture in here if I can find one, but they're up high on these catwalks over the DJ. And so Brittany is basically in charge of the dancers, I would say.
Yeah, this one, it's a different thing than being a dance captain, where at Jubilee I was in charge of teaching dances, keeping it clean, making sure people are in their spots and that sort of thing. This is free. It's all freestyle dancing. We do have spots on the stage. It's not as important. I just kind of try to make it fair, make sure people are in the spots, and write the set list, put out the costumes, and a lot of it's just being kind of support, because that job is tough. We work double shifts in the summer. You're squeezing 7 shifts into 4 days. On some of the big weekends like EDC, the music festival, we're doing 11 shifts in, I don't know what it is, 5 days or something like that. And you're basically just sleeping and dancing, and you're trying to live your life in like the 3 hours in between your shifts. So, things happen and you get close to each other. So in that position, it's almost more of like a supporting role. And I almost feel more like instead of telling people what to do, it's more like trying to anticipate what I can do to make everything fit. Because it's a fun job and it shouldn't be anything besides fun. And, it's kind of just play to everyone's strengths and keep it fun.
That is so awesome, and that's exactly right. And I worked there for about a year and a half, and Brittany was there the whole time, and she saved my butt so many times because I'm one of the most forgetful people you'll ever meet in your life, and I forgot how many costume pieces, and I don't know. Brittany's got probably lots of stories of all the times I would just forget, or she would tell us, okay, so now we're going on stage, and she would give us the order of how we were going on, and I would forget immediately upon going up there. So she was always so patient with me. So yeah, she's the best. And
But it's 2 in the morning. Everyone there has done maybe 2 shows, maybe a day club shift, a brunch shift, maybe a gig in between, and now it's nightclub, and it's 2 in the morning, and you're hot, and you're maybe like running through drunk people, and it's loud. And it's trying to make the conditions the best so everyone can just be their best dancing personality up there.
yes. So, but still, that you're very kind to give some excuses for us, but you never forget everything, which is why you're awesome at that job. So, and the other thing I wanted to point out for anybody that was wondering is, so Marquee has a day club as well. So that's what she's saying, when you would dance all day at the day club, and sometimes it's 100, 110, 120 degrees outside, and you're dancing in a full costume and makeup, and then you have a little bit of a break and you have to come back and work at the nightclub that night. So it's a tough job, but it is fun. Yeah. And most of us that worked there have worked together for years, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good group of girls. It's fun. Go in, dance with your friends. It doesn't get much better.
My last question for Miss Brittany: what is your advice for any aspiring dancers or aspiring Vegas dancers particularly?
My number one thing that I wish I could go back, and I don't even know how this would have worked, but where I grew up, you danced at your studio. And I wish that I would have been able to take more classes just more broad. There's so many dance studios around, and I know dance studios are a business, but I feel like I kind of missed out on some things, just, always taking from the same teachers, and they were great and they were amazing, but I just wish that I had more variety. And kind of the same, I guess, in college, I was so concentrated because it's hard. I want to say it was 120 out of 150 credits were in dance. And so you're just dancing all day from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night every day. And it's amazing. But it's all concert dance and ballet, and there's not any other styles. And I was so busy. I was in Michigan. I wasn't getting out to a ton of auditions. So if you can, my mom took me, I think, to Ohio once. We did a cruise ship audition, and we went to Toronto for another one. But that's not a lot of audition experience. Those are the only 2 auditions I had under my belt until I came to Vegas. So get as much experience as you can, take as many classes as you can. When conventions come, take conventions, do the audition class, and train in as many styles as possible. Out here, point is a specialty. I never kept up on it. I know, Kelly, you're good at point, but out here, that's a specialty. Tap is a specialty. The more skills you have, the more marketable you are. And when you're growing up and your teacher tells you to do more with your face, that's what gets you the job. The average person paying for a ticket to see a show, they can admire good dancing, but they don't know that a dancer's that much better than the other. They see the exciting face and the passion behind it and the fun, and that's what people are paying for.
Wow, that is really great advice, and I 100% agree on all counts. Brittany is speaking the truth. So thank you guys for watching this interview with Miss Brittany. I'm going to put her Instagram in the description box below so you can follow her there, and I'm sure if you have any other questions for Brittany, she'd be happy to answer them for you. Thank you so much, Brittany, for being on Las Vegas Diaries.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed my interview with Brittany. If you have any questions for Las Vegas Showgirls or any of the guests that I have on the Las Vegas Diaries show, I would love to hear your questions. You can put them in the comments below my videos, but a better way to reach me is to follow the Kelly O Facebook page, which I will link below. There you will see all of my upcoming guests, and you can comment there any questions that you have for them, and I will be more than happy to include them in my interviews. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next video.